All right, so are you ready to dive back into From?
Let's do it. Season 3 is already shaping up to be a wild ride.
No kidding. Shatter, the premiere episode. Talk about an intense way to kick things off. And for anyone joining us for the first time, that's what we do here. Deep dive into the shows you're obsessed with.
Exactly. We unpack all the details, the symbolism, those hidden meanings you might have missed.
We're not afraid to get granular, folks. And today, we're getting granular with From.
And we're starting right where Season 2 left off with Tabitha. Remember that crazy cliffhanger?
Of course, she escapes the town. Or at least she thinks she does. But instead of finding freedom, she stumbles into something else entirely.
A new world. But is it any less dangerous than the one she left behind? The way the episode plays with this sense of disorientation, it's brilliant.
Totally agree. It's like 1 minute you're relieved she's out, the next you're hit with this overwhelming sense of dread, like something's just not right.
And that's where Victor's lunchbox comes in. Talk about an odd detail to focus on.
Right. At first I thought, okay, maybe it's just a random prop. But then they show the address written on it, and you know it's got to mean something.
It's almost as if the writers are giving us a breadcrumb trail, a connection between Tabitha's escape and possibly the very origins of the town itself. Like, who writes an address on a lunchbox?
It's such a bizarre detail, but it immediately got me thinking, is there a deeper connection between these seemingly ordinary items and the terrifying reality of the town?
It's definitely got me hooked. But let's switch gears for a second. Back in the town, things aren't exactly peachy either, right?
Understatement of the year. The food shortage is getting dire. I mean, we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But seeing it play out just adds a whole other layer of stress to the whole thing.
Absolutely. You can practically feel the desperation in the air. It's classic survival horror, right? Resources dwindling, people turning against each other. The writers know how to build tension.
And then just when you thought it couldn't get worse, those creatures using the livestock as bait, it's just brutal.
Totally. And it really speaks to a chilling evolution in how those creatures operate. They're not just mindless monsters anymore. There's a deliberate cruelty there.
A psychological game they're playing.
Exactly. And it makes you question, what's the end game here? Is it simply to kill? Or is there something more sinister at play?
Which brings us to that scene with Boyd, and oh man, poor Tian Shen. I'm still haunted by that. That whole sequence, it felt like a turning point for the show.
I think you're right. It's like From is embracing the psychological horror even more this season. The torture, the way they break down their victims.
Yeah.
It's as much about mental and emotional anguish as it is about physical pain.
And I think that's what makes it so effective. It gets under your skin in a way that just slashing and gashing never could.
Exactly. So much to unpack there.
So we've got Tabitha out in the world searching for answers. We've got the town on the brink of collapse and creatures who are becoming bolder, more cunning.
And don't forget about Victor's father, that cryptic message Tabitha received. Clearly, he has a role to play in all of this.
Right. But is he friend or foe? What does he know about the town, about the creatures?
So many questions, and honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I think it's safe to say we're in for one heck of a ride this season.
Absolutely. And here's something for everyone to think about. If these creatures are evolving, does that mean escape is even possible? Or could this evolution actually make their defeat even more unlikely?
Ooh, good one.
Keep those theories coming, folks. We'll be back next week to dive into episode 2 and see where this twisted path leads us next.